So after understanding the qualities and traits of the leader, it becomes important to understand yourself whether you fall in the category of a good leader or not. So the basic question which comes up, you as a good leader, are you a good leader? So for that, the first and foremost important method which is acceptable is 360-degree feedback, wherein you take the feedback from the employees, your subordinates, your colleagues, your superior, as well as you do self-assessment for yourself. This is 360-degree feedback, wherein you ask your employees, your subordinates various questions. So usually this 360-degree feedback is a part of an appraisal process nowadays, which is actually conducted by HR department. So as you all are working professionals, you must be knowing that every year there is a appraisal process which goes on. Usually this type of feedback is taken for people who belong to middle layer management or a higher layer of management. So this 360, because at their level it is very important to manage the stakeholders. To manage the stakeholders, it becomes important for everyone to understand whether the person at a certain level is actually performing well or not. Now his performance cannot always be judged by certain targets. His performance is obviously one of the most important criteria, is whether people around him are happy with him or not. So for that purpose, 360-degree feedback is taken. Another important way of conducting an assessment as a leader is critically examining yourself. Means where you are lagging behind, what are your strengths, how do you reflect on your actions, how you get reflected about from any other person's actions. So this is another way of examining, which is the second way is critically examining yourself. The third important way of examining is personal SWOT. What is this? SWOT analysis, we call it. This is done both for industries and individuals and organizations. But here, since we are talking about a leader, we are talking about individual assessment. So one has to identify what are the strengths. This is a tool to identify strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. Now if you see each of them individually, your strengths will bring opportunities for you, and your weakness will bring threats for you. So it is very important to manage your weaknesses at the right point of time. If you manage your weaknesses at a very right point, then it will be easier and possible to manage threat. So for example, a person, you as a leader, you are not very good in interpersonal skills, or no, you are not very good at communication with the people. Now what threat it can pose, that if suppose your communication is not good, you might not be able to manage your people. If you are not able to manage your people properly, which means there is a threat that your work or your targets as an organization or your objectives as an organization does not get fulfilled at a right point of time. So if you see you have certain strengths, then you search opportunities for against those strengths. What are the opportunities, how you can grow yourself in the organization. If you have certain weaknesses, try to come up with those weaknesses, try to accept those weaknesses, so that you can manage your threats which can be posed or which can come up with because of the existence of weaknesses in you. This entire activity is SWOT analysis. SWOT, strength, weakness, opportunities and threats. The next is reflective learning. Now you know your weaknesses, you know your threats, you know your strengths. Now there are people who write down what they learned during the day, what they try to reflect their day-to-day life by writing into the diary. This is called reflective writing style. You learn through your experiences. Recently I met a US lady. She is conducting yoga classes and she is a good healer. Now every day when her name is Christy, when she goes for healing someone, she says she also learned from that experience of the person. She tries to put it as a reflective log for herself. So this is very important practice in which most of the good leaders, they do it in their initial years. It will help them to become a really good leader and step up as a good mentor for others also. The next important way of development is MBTI assessment. MBTI assessment. This assessment builds an understanding of strength and blind point. Means either you can use SWOT analysis or you can use this. This is a fundamental step in any change process, because see, it is very important to understand your blind spots or your weaknesses before you actually go and change them, or you actually acceptance is important. So to develop and improve it will improve the self-awareness. For the MBTI assessment, this awareness is about one's own and other predictions to behave in a specific manner. This information can be used, so whatever you interpret from this assessment, it can be used to improve your interpersonal skills, to manage conflict, to improve relationships and take informed career choices. Now next we will talk about emotional intelligence assessment. So this is MBTI assessment. It is something in a form of a questionnaire which you will find online, and you can yourself, and it's a very good and easy process. It will help you in understanding so many things about yourself. So I would suggest you to go to net, try to find this MBTI assessment and conduct it for yourself. You will also be able to understand where do you stand as a leader. Maybe something which you consciously does not know can be known to you through these type of assessments. So this is highly recommendable. The next important type of assessment is emotional intelligence assessment. Now you know what is emotions, what is emotional intelligence. So as a good leader, you should be emotionally intelligent. this we had also heard or learnt about it in our last unit, or sorry, in our last qualities for leaders. Now here what you have to do in this assessment, as the word itself says, you have to assess yourself, you have to test yourself, perform a task, and it's a known thing how you have to perform. There are certain questionnaires which you will have to answer, and there the people will, by answering this question, you will be, or the individual will be able to understand his emotional intelligence. So it is like the basic thing behind this emotional intelligence assessment, and is the way it is designed. It is designed to assess their ability, your ability to perceive, identify, understand and manage emotions. Suppose you are a project manager and your subordinates come up with certain disputable situation. Now this test will help you to understand how you can solve that dispute without any biasness in you. This emotional intelligence will make you aware, okay, here I am weak, here I have to see or speak before here I have to think and speak before I take any actions. So this emotional intelligence assessment will help you to evolve as a better individual, as a individual, more balanced and mature individual. Now there may be a situations in which that this test will help you in better communication, handling conflicts, managing changes and career choices also. This is also a very good assessment test. Now the next beautiful test which you can take is DISC assessment. DISC assessment. So in the DISC assessment, it helps people to understand why they do what they are doing, why they do what they are doing. So D in DISC assessment, D stands for dominance, I stands for influence, S stands for steadiness, and C stands for consciousness. My spellings can be wrong somewhere, but it's okay. Dominance, this type of style of a leader is bold and skeptical. A leader is more bold here, more skeptical about things. He or she takes winning as a high priority. This particular style typically dives into challenging situations. They tend to be more receptive to the logic, means they will not try to understand the point in an emotional manner. They will try to understand the point with a certain logic, with certain data behind it. There is no gut feeling. So you must be like sometimes you feel, no, my gut feeling is that we should go this way. For them who are a dominant leader, who believe in dominance, there is no gut feeling, there is no intuition. Whatever steps they take with certain logic and data behind it. They pursue the challenges in a dynamic and assertive way and self-assured manner. Means if somebody comes and asks them, why do you took this decision, they have a list of Excel a bundle of Excel file to show that this is the reason, this is the trend, these are the historical data, this is the future forecasting, and based on that I have taken this particular decision. So the decision is totally based on the logic. There is no I think, maybe type of thinking behind it. The another aspect of after dominance is influence. This is style is both bold and accepting. Means these people are more people oriented and are motivated by their connections with the people. Okay, they tend to welcome others with warmth and inviting manner that encouraging collaboration and generates excitement during the work. Like while you are working, while you are at your office, you feel that you are treated with certain respect. Your boss is actually valuing your work. So these type of people are influential. They influence others. They pursue environmental challenges in an outgoing, enthusiastic and optimistic manner. Means suppose there is some change which has come up, they will take it as a enthusiasm. They will take it in an optimistic manner. They are prone to keep people happy. They will definitely try to, since this influences people oriented style, they will try to keep their team members happy and will definitely incorporate them while taking decisions. They will involve them for the constructive feedback while they are taking any sort of decisions. Now the next important point in DISC is steadiness. Steadiness means the style is both conscious and acceptable. They are highly motivated to help others and maintain the stability of their environment. Means they are calm, they patient, they work with a certain patience level. They are balanced people and they try to respond to challenges in a thoughtful and comparatively methodical manner. So means if any challenge came, they will sit, they will think on a particular challenge, they will try to find out a solution in certain methodical manner, and then they will try to react for the situation. These type of people or leaders have a tendency to struggle with change. Means they don't adapt change very easily, since they are more into thinking, they are more into doing things with certain methods. Once they are into their comfort zone, they don't try to go away from their comfort. So for them, adapting new situations, new challenges is little difficult and can be shocked. They can be shocked at new when they are faced with new things. Now the last one is consciousness. These style, as this word itself shows, this style is both conscious and skeptical. Means fully negative, very detailed oriented, have a strong preference for the environment and stability. They enjoy opportunities to demonstrate their expertise. Means they are very conscious about things. For everything they try to understand how they will put it up, they try to bring in quality into their work. These people, since they are skeptical, as the dominant people, they are driven by logic and objective analysis. As such, they typically respond to disruptions. Means they don't. It's difficult for them to accept, but they try to accept it by actually doing feasibility testing, the viability testing of new things which is coming to their way. So through this DISC assessment, you can find your style of doing things, whether you are a dominant or influential or steady, or you are conscious in doing things. There are tests which is available on internet where you can go and check for the DISC assessment, and you can actually find your way of doing things. The next point is, so this is about are you a good leader? Okay, now after doing all these things, it is very important for a leader to justify whatever he or she is thinking. Okay, so obviously if you are leader, you means you are into managing few things. If you are managing few things, you are also managing a team for those things. If you are managing team for those things, which means you on a daily basis you need to take decision, right? So let's now talk about justifying recommendations as a leader. For justifying your recommendations, first of all, you have to think smart. Think smart. Think smart. Now, this smart has a deeper meaning, where S stands for specific, M stands for measurable, A stands for achievable, R stands for realistic, and T stands for time bound. If you are recommending something to your people, to your subordinates, to your managers, whosoever who are deeply involved with you in your work, whatever measures you want or recommendation you take for a certain thing to be done, obviously it has to be specific. Means, suppose you give your people a target of certain sales figure. Which means you said, okay, Mr. A, I want you to sell goods which we are producing. I want you to sell goods which we are producing. Is it a right statement to give? Is it a right proper recommendation by a manager to or by a leader to a subordinate? I will say no. Why? It's a big no. Why? Somebody who is a good subordinate will ask, how much, sir? What sales should I bring? What means whatever you are suggesting should have a specification. What sales means, out of 10 products which my company is making, what should I sell? I should be specific. Then how much I should sell means what? How means how much? Quantity. You should tell that as a salesperson you should sell 100,000 units a month. That's just an example. Then when you say 100,000 units a month, this should be achievable. It should not be out of the reach of the person. You know very well it is not from the last historic data, and this person who is joining you is a new into the company. A person who is best in selling is able to sell 50,000 units a month. Is it really achievable? No. So you have to give such targets or such recommendations which are achievable. Then comes realistic. I say go and sell these products on Mars. Is it achievable? Is it realistic? Right now, maybe after 20-30 years, but right now there is no reality in this situation. Obviously, if I say go and bring sales, it does not have any time. So a person should be able to give a certain time period of a month, 2 months, 3 months, a year, whatever. So as a good leader, you should justify what you are saying. You should think smart. Logically, you should logically support your recommendations. Means, as we saw in a person as a good leader, it should have a out of disk this dominance part, wherein there should be a logical thinking. They should be able to give certain logics and statistics behind their recommendation. So based on last few months sales or few years sales, this month you should be able to target this particular sales. Your state and the establishment of reasons means that there should be a reason behind this. When you are asking that person or you are giving your recommendation, there has to be a certain solid recommendations, reasons behind what you are recommending with certain evidence to it. And very important point is, when you do all these activities, you have to set it as a KPI. This is a term which you might be hearing day in day out from the mouth of your manager, which is key performance indicator. This means you have been giving on a yearly basis certain tasks which you have to perform. These tasks are your key performance indicators. Means if you perform them 100%, means you are an average employee. If you perform them more than 100%, means greater than 100%, means you are doing exceptionally well. And less than 100% means you need to improve on your working. This is the reason why key performance indicators are given to each and every employee in the organization, be it a CEO of the company or a person who is working at a very ground level. Now, these key performance indicators are the output of key success factors. Means what are the factors, success factors, which a company is expected to achieve. Now based on these are actually objectives of the organization. These objectives of the organization is then segregated amongst various departments with certain key performance indicators. Now these key performance indicators will tell them that yes, they are able to achieve their success factors or not. With this, I hope you have understood the entire learning outcome. With this, we are finishing off with be able to review and develop yourself as a leader.